You are ending an era of negative rates. Why is now a good time?
The timing is good because the economic developments in this country have been good for quite a number of years by now. The growth numbers have been high for a number of years, and it was possible by going negative for us to get our inflation rate up close to or at our target 2%. And as far as we can judge, economy is slowing down a bit, but not all that much. So going from minus 0.25 to 0 is a good thing to do given the economic conditions.
But still, you are lowering your inflation forecast. In retrospect, do you wish you'd done the hike earlier?
No, not really, because one should be mindful of the fact that we came from an environment where inflation was way too low. Inflationary expectations were also on the low side, and we wanted to make sure that people truly believed in our inflation target of 2%. So it took a while for us to stay negative.
But with the economy slowing, what are you hoping to achieve by lifting the repo rate at this point?
We think that getting to 0 is the right thing to do, given that we will still meet our inflation target. We won't be on 2% exactly, but we will be fairly close. The economy is slowing down a bit, but we really don't foresee a recession, neither in the global economy nor in the Swedish economy. And with that as a background, one needs to be mindful of the fact that 0, that's still a very low rate.
So you're not afraid of making the same policy mistake you did after the financial crisis by hiking in a downturn?
No, not really, because 0 is still a very low rate. But when it comes to publishing a policy rate path, you never know what happens in the future. So it's a projection, it's not a promise.
Can you give us your thoughts on the QE program?
It worked well. I mean, it was discussed in detail when we started doing our QE. We have bought almost, I think, roughly 40% of the outstanding government debt. But compared to some other countries, government debt is fairly small, so that's why we ended up buying such a large chunk of it. But it has been an important supplement to going negative, because that has also created a very substantial liquidity overhang in the system as a whole, and that means that it's actually the negative rate in combination with the liquidity overhang that has produced the results that we have achieved.
But it's not time to back off a bit from intervening in the government bond market?
No, not really as of yet. My view is that we are presently in a very good position, because essentially what we're doing is that we are rolling the portfolio that we hold. We are present in the market, doing few transactions, but not in monetary terms, not all that much money. But that means that it gives us the option of increasing what we do or decreasing what we do if things happen in the future. So it's a good complement.
Okay, so what would you say is your main lesson from almost 5 years with negative rates?
Well, one lesson is that you never know what happens in the future, and when things do happen in the future and you have to react to that in a central bank, you have to have the capacity to do things that you have never done before, and that means the capacity both to go negative but also to use your balance sheet to its fullest. And during this period, it meant to expand our balance sheet, not to shrink our balance sheet. So you've got to do what you've got to do, and that means that when things happen, you need to fully understand ex ante what kind of a toolbox is available, and then you need to be bold enough to use those tools.
Recently, you've been emphasizing stability risks associated with negative rates. Have you reassessed the minus rate policy in any way?
No, not at this juncture, and that's because it was possible for us right now to go to 0. So this episode is over. It's a completely different conversation if you imagine a world where rates would stay negative for a very long period of time, so that the perception would be that negative rates is something kind of natural, the way things are supposed to be. And now we don't have to deal with that, and in that respect, it's also comfortable to get to 0.